Am I the wrong one for threatening to ban my brother from my wedding because he plans on proposing to his girlfriend during the reception? I, 25 years old male, am getting married in December. My fiancée, 24 years old female, and I both are very excited and busy planning, and this incident is making things much more stressful. A couple weeks ago I was talking about the wedding with my brother, 30 years old male, and he asked if it'd be okay for him to propose to his girlfriend at our wedding. I laughed and said yeah, sure, if you want to get your ass handed to you by my fiancé. He laughed, and I figured he got the message. The other day my fiancé came to me, in tears, saying that my brother had called her and thanked her for letting him propose at the wedding. She told him that it never happened, and he wasn't allowed to do that, and he just laughed and thanked her again. I called my brother back and asked him what was going on. He's insisting that he's going to propose to his girlfriend at the wedding. He claims it's getting even for when I announced our engagement at the same family dinner he brought his girlfriend to meet the family. I had no idea. They arrived separately and she got there after I had made the announcement. I told him if he doesn't get it through his head that he is absolutely not allowed to propose, both him and his girlfriend won't be allowed into the wedding at all, and if he tries to pull a stunt, he'll be kicked out immediately. He didn't take it well and told the whole family. My fiancé and I have been getting calls and messages from them telling us how lousy we are for doing that. How dare I turn my back on my brother? He's also now blaming me for spoiling the proposal to his girlfriend and the family. Because if I hadn't been such an ass, he wouldn't have had to break the news to the family like this. I still stand by what I did. I don't think I was out of line at all, but my fiancé thinks we should have just let him propose to avoid conflict. I know it means a lot to her that everyone gets along and that there's no hard feelings, especially since she's feeling stressed as is. But I don't want to give in to my brother. AITA, edit. Thanks for all the responses. I didn't expect this to get this many comments. To address something, while I understand the intent behind the suggestions, my fiancé and I will not be telling my brother that we'll announce a pregnancy at his wedding in retaliation. We are unable to conceive and this is a sore subject to us. Not the wrong one, it's your wedding. Besides, proposing at a wedding is super awkward. Like, the wedding is about the couple, not someone who's going to be getting married in the future. Not the wrong one. Nope, you asked him not to do it and he said he would anyway. Easy answer. Sucks that he's doing this, but this is on him. Even if you had seriously wronged him in the past that wouldn't excuse new premeditated bad behavior. Update: am I the wrong one for threatening to ban my brother from my wedding because he plans on proposing at the reception? Original post, here link 1 in description. Firstly, thank you all so much for the crazy response on my original post. Totally unexpected, but very much appreciated by my fiancé and I. As I mentioned a couple times in the comments of my original post, my fiancé and I wrote up a Facebook post to explain the situation to our families, mostly mine, including screenshots of texts with my brother. I decided I didn't want to link the post here as it feels a little too personal to be slapping on Reddit. Sorry. As expected, once the family heard our side of the story and put everything together, many of them changed their tune. Most of the family members who had been calling me an a-hole ended up apologizing and siding with me and my fiancé. My brother was livid. He called me about an hour after the post went up and demanded that I take it down because it made him look bad. He said he was being unfairly attacked, and even blamed me for his girlfriend breaking up with him. My brother has formally been banned from the entire wedding, and we've asked any family members who continue to side with him to RSVP that they will not be attending. Our parents aren't happy with the turnout, and my mother has decided she won't be attending my wedding because of how I'm alienating my brother during an important event. I don't mind, I've never been very close with her, and while it is a bit sad that she's choosing my hard-headed brother over my wedding, I still have my father's full support. My brother's, now ex-girlfriend is still invited and got promoted to bridesmaid because of how helpful and supportive she's been to my fiancé. Hopefully this is the last issue we'll run into during wedding planning. I hope this update lives up to any expectations. I never expected I'd be in this situation, but I'm glad so many people on this sub got a kick out of it, and very grateful for the advice and support I received. He called me about an hour after the post went up and demanded that I'd take it down because it made him look bad. Well, yeah, it certainly did make him look bad because he was behaving badly, but narcissists don't like their perfect image spoiled in public. Same for your mother. You've ruined the whole happy families and perfect mother fantasy she insists you all play along with. Have a lovely wedding. Man, it always upsets me when a parent acts like your mom did, punishing people for not keeping the peace, aka letting themselves be a doormat. Am I the wrong one for sleeping top naked in my bedroom? My 18 years old female, Mom and I live in a crummy apartment complex in NYC. Our apartment itself isn't crummy. We've taken a lot of pride in making the inside of our apartment look nicer than it really is, but truth be told the building is crummy, so much so that the radiator in my room is broken, and I get heat every day of the year, even in summer. I prefer not to open my windows during summer as well because all types of questionable creepy crawlies like to come through the window, so I usually sleep on top of the covers or without pants. Last night it was too hot, so I slept without a shirt or bra. I have pretty huge boobs. It's no secret, but I was in the comfort of my bedroom and I keep my door closed when I sleep. This morning I woke up to find my mom staring at me. She scared me crapless, especially because I have a loft bed and was making direct eye contact with her as soon as I opened my eyes. She stood there and screamed at me for 20 minutes telling me to put a shirt on and calling me a ruthless whore for sleeping without a shirt while her boyfriend was here. I put a pillow in front of my body and closed my eyes to go back to sleep. This wasn't good enough, and she ripped the pillow from my arms and told me to put on some clothes before her boyfriend came in here and saw me like this. I told her I keep my door closed for a reason, and if she's worried about her boyfriend bothering me that's more telling of her boyfriend, not me. She was absolutely seething and told me I'm to live under her rules while I'm in her house, and that includes not being trashy and sleeping with some clothes on. I figured she was being ridiculous, but her boyfriend heard the commotion and ended up coming into the room to get her, without knocking mind you, and left me flailing to find a sheet to cover with. He was kind of eyeing me and told me my mom was right and I need to sleep with clothes on. I'm having a hard time understanding, am I really an a-hole here? Edit, no, I can't lock my door. She won't allow me to replace the doorknob with one that comes with a lock. Additional. Edit, please stop freaking messaging me asking me to see my breasts. People are asking me what mentioning the size of my boobs had to do with the post, and it was one of the arguments my mother made for me to wear a shirt. Yes, in hindsight it doesn't come into play, but I was annoyed when I wrote the post and rethinking the entire situation. For those calling this fake saying I'd die under the conditions I'm describing and to just get window screens, that doesn't help when the heat outside is so thick and gross. It's just extra hot air. Not to mention unpredictable rainstorms that I have to constantly close the window for anyway. Additionally, I have a phobia of bugs and the screens don't seem to stop cockroaches and spiders. Thank you to everyone messaging me with helpful tips. It's hard to respond to everyone, but I see and appreciate your help. I'll be purchasing a doorstop soon, as well as find time to discuss with my mom what her blow-up was about. We have a pretty decent relationship outside of this, which is why this shocked me and had me confused as to whether I was wrong or not. Not the wrong one. You have a reasonable expectation of privacy in your room. She and her boyfriend should stay out of it. If she's that worried about him being in your room, maybe the real issue is that she's dating someone she doesn't trust / who might be a creep. Neither your mother or her boyfriend have any business busting into your room without permission. End of story. Update. Am I the wrong one for sleeping top naked in my bedroom? Update. Am I the wrong one for sleeping top naked in my room? Original here, link to in description. Hi everyone. I wanted to give an update on the situation since a lot of people were really concerned for me. After the whole debacle, I did purchase a wedge for under my door from Walmart. It worked, and I didn't have any more issues with waking up to people in my face. I used the excuse that it was to keep our cat from opening my door at night and my mom seemed fine with that. While he was here and even after he was gone my mom seemed attached and sort of out of it. I asked if everything was okay and she said she needed to sort out some feelings first, but she promised we'd talk when she was better. I said okay and left it at that. Couple days later, he came back for another weekend stay. The day after he came they had an at-home date night with drinks and fancy takeout, and that night I woke up to my door being messed with. I call out to see if it's my mom, and got no response. I pulled on a t-shirt and shorts and pulled the door wedge out to check, and he is standing at my door. He was drunk, and I was a bit panicked because I thought something had happened to my mom and he needed help. But he just stood there for a few seconds without saying anything. He didn't seem to be sleepwalking or in peril, so I said I'm uncomfortable, I'm closing my door. Before I could close the door all the way, my mom flew out her room, saw him, and started cussing and screaming and telling him he needed to leave. They argued back and forth for a while, but eventually she got him out the door. After calming her down I took her to her room and we had a talk. It turns out, the day she had came into my room, she had been on his phone and saw he was talking to his brother-in-law about me in very disgusting ways, talking about how I was growing up to be very shapely and mature, and that he couldn't wait until I moved out so he could dump my mother for me. He said far more explicit things that were all extremely worrying, especially since we've known him since I was 11. My mom had came to tell me to be careful around him while she thought of a way to break it off safely, but when she saw my state she had some misplaced anger. He's out of our lives now, thankfully. TLDR, Boyfriend was actually a creep. Mom had misplaced anger. I wanna say thanks to everyone for all the suggestions and recommendations, and even those who suggested my mom could be abusive. I plan to talk to her about her other ideals/behaviors soon. Sarcastic thanks and genuinely big FUs to those who sent me crude messages. I'm just glad the situation is over. Hi friends, as most of you are aware, we have strict rules to comply with Redditos around violence. That includes shutting down convos about grooming/pedophilia/otherwise creepy as hell behavior. With that in mind, we decided to strike a balance between not allowing this update, and a flood of pedo comments. This post is intentionally locked. Hi friends, as most of you are aware, we have strict rules to comply with Redditos around violence. That includes shutting down convos about grooming/pedophilia/otherwise creepy as hell behavior. With that in mind, we decided to strike a balance between not allowing this update, and a flood of pedo comments. This post is intentionally locked. Am I the wrong one for telling my girlfriend that being depressed is not an excuse for being lazy? I 29 have always supported my girlfriend, 23. We have been together for 4 years now, and lived together for 1. She has always had anxiety, as well as depression where some months are worse than others. I have supported her through all of this, and understand it is very hard for her. In January she lost her job due to the current world circumstances. By March she hit a low point with not eating as much, crying, irritability, typical traits of depression. I have comforted her as much as possible, and taken care of everything. However, at the beginning of June I was allowed back to work, and since the house has fallen to shambles, I am too tired by the time I come home to do anything, even cook. Most nights we order takeout, and on the rare occasion she makes food. The floors aren't being washed, hoovering isn't being done, laundry is a mountain, and dishes are everywhere. I try keep on top of it, but with work it is almost impossible. She is home, all day. She lies in bed till late afternoon, watches Netflix, eats bowls of cereal, and naps. That's about it. I've tried to gently coax her to do more, and she says she will get to it, but never does. I finally snapped, told her I was sick of her doing nothing all day and leaving the housework to me, that if she is here and I am working, she needs to be pulling her weight. She got upset, and said that she wants to, but she can never find the motivation. That she is tired all the time. I said I understood she was depressed, but it isn't an excuse to do nothing and be lazy. No one likes housework, but I won't take any more excuses about it. She needs to start doing it or leave. Next day I come home to a clean house and a note from her saying she was sorry, and is going to stay with her mother. Her mom helped her clean before they left. I tried calling, but she wouldn't pick up. When I rang the house, her mother answered and had a lot to say. She was furious, telling me about how she is struggling and I am making her worse. That I should be supporting her, not ignoring that she is in a bad place, and so on. I was told my GF had been crying all day in her bedroom, and I feel awful. I never wanted to hurt her, I just snapped. I tried to get her mother to give my GF the phone, but she wouldn't speak to me. It feels like a lose-lose situation. On one hand I know depression results in lack of motivation and cleanliness, and on the other I can't stand to see our home in such chaos. I've never had depression so I can't say for sure how bad it truly is. That's why I find it more difficult to 100% empathize. AITA for telling her depression isn't an excuse. Extra info. She has a therapist and talks regularly with them. Her depression is worse since losing her job. Usually she is quite clean and tidy. We don't usually have this issue. She is looking for a job despite depression, etc. I have enough money to support us both in the meantime. Nah, I feel for both you and her. It's not easy dealing with someone who has depression, just as it's not easy for that person to be dealing with the depression. It's not fair on you to bear that emotionally, and it's not fair to her to have someone pushing her. I think you both need to reevaluate and probably take a break or just break up. She doesn't seem okay to be in a relationship right now with what she's dealing with. Depression is a gluttonous beast. When it trains the primary victim to a barely functioning husk of a person, it gets hungry and starts to feed off the energy of those close to the victim. To keep this supply going, it manipulates the victim into, as you said, lose-lose-lose situations so it can stuff itself on the sadness and distress. I have it. I hate it. I live with it. But it's the hungriest hungry hippo for psychic distress, and it manipulated the perfect situation to not only dig its primary victim deeper, but to chip away at the support system until the main supporter lashes out and build up frustration. This isn't a you versus her cleaning issue as much as it is the issue of everyone here, including her therapist. From your comments, underestimated the depression. It is far more diabolical than people want to admit because it's honestly terrifying. Since the depression is so strong right now, personifying it can be helpful. It's the third player on the 4D emotional chessboard here. manipulating pieces and moves so it can continue to feast merrily. Practical advice: follow the other commenter's advice to eat your crow while it's fresh and apologize for snapping. It is unfair for you to carry the whole load indefinitely, but empathy and strategy will serve you better here than being right. Go into this with no expectations beyond being able to give a heartfelt apology and say your piece. If things work out, great, and I wish you both the best together. If not, then that's truly unfortunate and I wish you both the best on your paths. Update: am I the wrong one for telling my girlfriend that being depressed is not an excuse for being lazy? Original. Here link 3 in description. Ultimately I realized that the majority of the blame was mine. I never ever should have called her lazy because that isn't what she is. I lashed out and I shouldn't have. She stayed at her mother's for a few days, and we eventually met up to talk. I told her how it just got too much for me. But it was no excuse for lashing out and I apologized. She apologized also, not that she needed to. And we talked for a long while about how we can make our relationship work. I expressed my concerns over her therapist, who is very against anything other than talking therapy. She agreed that he didn't seem to really have her best interests at heart and she is currently looking for someone new. For now, I suggested she stops looking for work. She got a lot of rejections and I could see it was upsetting her more. I just felt we should take a step back from that and I want her to focus a little more on herself. She was unsure as she felt bad that I would be working for both of us, but I assured her it is fine. I make enough to support us both quite comfortably. I also suggested maybe she could volunteer at some point just to get her out and get some more stuff on her resume. I'm no therapist, so these were just suggestions, but it has seemed to have taken some of the pressure off her, which is all I wanted. We agreed that being in the apartment all day alone and in bed is not good for her, so we came up with a plan that she do an exercise video 3 times a week. It's only a 10-minute one, just so she is doing something. She has found she likes doing them. They make her feel a bit better after, and has started something called yin yoga now too. To help me, she has one chore a day to do. I don't care what it is. It could be dishes or it could just be putting the laundry in the hamper. This rule has at least gotten her out of bed for part of the day and she's found that once she starts she sometimes ends up doing more than one thing. I make sure to show my appreciation for whatever she has done, no matter how small it was. We have set out that every Sunday we will have a deep cleaning day where we get everything done for the week. This has been surprisingly successful. We make it fun and just mess around while still getting things done. It makes the week a lot more manageable when we only have light chores to keep on top of. She is trying more, and I am also working on being more supportive about her depression. I'm researching it more, and learning ways I can help her because it is a part of her. We are both putting more effort in and communicating a lot better. I hope we keep making progress because I do love her very much and want us to work. It's so nice when these things have a happy ending. Good job on working on your issues and communicating properly. 3. Great to hear. Depression-induced inability to get out of bed is a vicious circle, and having you there to help her both be accountable, but also as her support is super important. It's good to see that you've been able to change your behavior, which in turn will help her as well. If she's enjoying doing online fitness and yin yoga, I highly recommend the YouTube channel Yoga with Adrienne. She does a lot of slow yin style lessons, in addition to specific ones for people with depression and anxiety that are great. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. See you later.